Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. I'm Maureen and I'm glad that you joined me today. I've got a special treat for us today. So this paper is called Buzzin By and it was designed by my friend Julia. She's on YouTube as Senior Susie Stamps. She created this paper and this ephemera to go with it. It was created in Canva and she was looking for volunteers for people to make some cards with it, and I volunteered. So she designed this so that you could cut it into 4 pieces and make 4 cards out of it, or you could cut it up in other ways if you wanted to. But here I'm going to show you that you can put 4 panels on here. These are A2 size panels. They're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and if you see, I'm moving these around. So you can see that you can cut this into 4 pieces and use each of those panels to make a separate card, and every card would be different, which I just think is a fantastic way that she designed this. But see that honeycomb in the middle there, and that are the beehive rather, and those 2 little bees? I thought, I really like to put that on a card. So I was trying to figure out how could I not waste a whole bunch of paper but get that piece. So I'm going to show you my process for what I did. Underneath that piece of paper is a portable light table. And I figured, I was trying to figure out how I was going to know exactly where to cut that paper at, because I am cutting kind of out of the top center part of this paper. So I thought if I use my light table and put the piece of paper underneath that piece of pattern paper, then I would be able to see the cardstock underneath it through the light table, and then be able to at least trace around it or make some guides so I knew where to cut the paper. I had an idea for what I wanted to do for this card, and I really needed to be able to cut out that piece in a specific place. So I've just turned on the light table there, and you can kind of see the shadow where that cardstock piece is. And I'm just trying to line this up to see if what I want to do is going to work. So now that I can see where the card is going to be on that designer paper, I need to decide which dies I wanted to use to cut out those bees and the beehive. I have this set from Paper Roses that has stitched edges on it, which I thought would be really nice. But then the more I thought about it, I realized you wouldn't be able to see the stitching very well. But I'm going to pull it out here and lay it down on the paper anyways, just to take a look and see which way I want the dies to go. I didn't know if I wanted to cut this with the straight edges across the top, or if I wanted to do it like the honeycombs are, where it's kind of at an angle. I also wanted to check out the size of these dies, because I do have 2 sets of the Hexagon dies, and this is the smaller set, and then there's this set here by scrapbook.com. This is a larger set. It has more dies in it, and the sizes are a little different than the Paper Roses set. So I went ahead and I pulled out some of the ones that I wanted to try with this. Now I knew that I wanted to cut that designer paper, and then I also wanted to have a matting layer on that. So I needed to find 2 that were going to nest together well, so that I could cut the designer paper in the smaller one and then the nesting part in the second one. So this die seemed like it was a little bit too small. I was losing some of the bees on each side of it, so I am going to pull over the next size over on this. I know those of you that are watching is kind of a mixed bag. There are some card makers among us who are very seasoned and have been doing this for a very long time. But I also know that there are some new people that watch my videos. So if I had to give one piece of advice to the new people that are watching my videos, I would say invest in some nested dies first. After you have like your basic tools. Start to invest in nested dies, because they are so versatile. Scrapbook.com has a lot of different varieties of these in all different shapes and sizes. I use my nested dies more than any other dies that I own, and it's just overall a good investment to make. So once you get your basic tools, start to save up for the nested dies. You won't regret it. Okay, so now I've got my 2 sizes of hexagons here, and I'm just double checking this to make sure that this is, what I want it to look like. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark where the edges of my cardstock are so that I can cut that paper in the right place. Now that I've cut that piece of paper for on the card base, I am going to check the placement just one more time of that small die. I always double, triple, sometimes quadruple check things before I actually die cut them, just to make sure that I'm not going to mess this up. I only had the one sheet of this paper, and so I just wanted to be sure. So now I'm going to pull down the big shot, and we're going to start to die cut these pieces. With all of our pieces cut out now we can start to assemble this card. So because this was printed on, I believe it was some kind of presentation paper that Julia printed these on and sent them to us. The paper is it's a little bit heavier than copy paper, but it's not as heavy as cardstock. So I am using just a very light application of Barely Art's white glue, just very light because I don't want it to buckle the paper. So we're just going to apply this very thoroughly on the back, because this piece is a little bit flimsy because I've cut the entire center out of it. So I want to make sure I have enough glue on there, but not so much that it's going to cause the paper to buckle or ripple or anything like that. So after we finish getting glue on this, now we're going to apply this to the front of the card. We are putting this directly on the front of the card base. If I would have thought about it, I would have glued that piece to another piece of cardstock and then die cut it out again, just to make it a little bit stronger. But this worked out just fine. So I'm just going to make sure that it's all down and not wrinkled. Now we're just going to assemble that center piece by gluing the pattern paper onto that solid color hexagon. And then we're going to not glue that hexagon down, but instead we're going to pop it up with some dimensionals just to give it a little bit more interest and a little dimension. So these are dimensionals by Stampin' Up. You can use any kind of foam-backed adhesive that you want to use. I am putting a lot on these because this card is going to go into the mail, although this one is going to go in a padded envelope. But if it's going to go through the mail, I tend to do overkill on the foam squares on them. So now that we've got it assembled, the next thing to do is to figure out what kind of sentiment we want to put on it. Now, Julia created this fantastic page of ephemera, and I so wanted to use something off of this, but my fussy cutting skills are not very good. And I thought maybe I would go ahead and put it through the scan and cut, but lately all I've been doing is fighting with the scan and cut. So I wasn't sure how I was going to get these cut out, and I didn't want to risk putting it in a scan and cut and ruining the whole sheet. So I opted to save that sheet, and I'll use it on another card because I have a set by Pink and Main that is a B set, and you'll see that set here in a second. So the die that I decided to use, that I'm going to mat the sentiment on, the die itself is a little frame, and it's from Queen and Company. I'll link it below. It comes in one of their big sets. So I'm going to cut this out of the same yellow card paper that the Hexagon mat is cut out of, so that they match. We're just going to run this through the Big Shot real quick, or maybe not so quick. I guess I could have sped that up a little bit. So anyways, okay, so we have our little mat, and now I need to cut the piece of paper that the sentiment's going to be stamped on, and that's going to be cut out of white paper. And that little trimmer there is a Dress My Crafts trimmer. Super, super cute. It's like 3 inches wide. I got it from May Made It. She's got a website. Her videos are really cool too if you want someone fun to check out. But that little trimmer is like the perfect size for die cutting, or for cutting out very, very small things. Hey, okay, so there's that Pink and Main set I was talking about. I don't remember what the name of this is called, but I will link it below. I don't know if it's retired or not, but I'm going to save that great little sheet of ephemera that Julia came up with, and I'm going to use it with this Pink and Main set. It'll go perfectly because of the bee theme. And this Pink and Main set, you can't see it real well off camera there, but there are some really cute bees on there that will go really well with the ones that she has. So anyways, I'm just going to use my Misty, and I'm going to line up the sentiment. The sentiment says Happy Bee Day on it. I love the pun. And I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp this. That's one of my favorite black inks. There are a lot of black inks out there that you can pick from. They all pretty much work the same. I like the Memento Tuxedo Black because I can use it for Copic coloring and for other things, and it's not going to smear. And it always does give a good black sentiment stamp. So now I'm going to take and glue this piece down onto the yellow frame. Now we're just going to go ahead and glue this sentiment strip down onto that yellow frame and get it all pressed down really well. And then we're going to pop this up onto some dimensionals, or with some dimensionals. Again, these are Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. You don't have to use Stampin' Up! Ones. You can use any foam ones that you might have in your stash or from any of the various companies that make them. And I'm just going to pull the backs off of these. And then we're just going to center this at the bottom of that hexagon. And once we have this put on here, that's going to wrap up our card for the day. So if you enjoyed seeing this card being made, please leave me a comment below. Let me know if you like what I did with this, or if I should have maybe just used one of the regular quadrants. And if you're interested in designing something yourself with this paper, please feel free to check the description for Julia's YouTube, and she is on YouTube as Senior Susie Stamps. She has a downloadable link in her description from the video for this paper. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.